Let's open the cabinet. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with the first episode of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. This is a donation reward for Matthew Vasquez, and this is one I've been waiting to get to for a bit. And with the updates and upgrades to the schedule this week, I felt like it was a good time to get to this. Also, with this being a like 45 to an hour long minute show. Um, I worded that a little weird, but 45-minute to an hour long show. I think this is good for Mondays because like it's easier to combine that I think with the YouTube reaction at the start of the week rather than with another series reaction. Just based on my experience with things. Um, so yeah, this is a series, a short form series. It is an anthology series by Guillermo del Toro, the famed director who's brought us stuff like Pan's Labyrinth and whatnot. And I'm very excited because this is like a horror anthology, and each episode is kind of its own thing, and and to my knowledge, has like a bunch of different like famous actors and whatnot in it. I don't know if there's a thorough line to this, like that connects all of the parts of the anthology. You know, like how some anthology films will like have something that connects all of them, like VHS and everything. And it's like you'll have that one little plot point that everything kind of builds around. It's like, oh, we're putting in this tape, and each of these little pieces of the anthology are part of that. I don't know if there's going to be something like that for this, but we'll see. I also don't know who's in this. I saw like when this first came out, or was coming out, I saw like a trailer, but I remember nothing from it. So I don't even remember exactly who's in this. Um, and I think right now it's only one season. I don't know if there's going to be another. But I'm very, very interested because this kind of seems right up my alley, and I just never got around to it. So I'm glad that Matthew chose it as a donation reward. Um, I don't entirely know what to expect because horror can be done in a lot of different ways, and especially with Guillermo del Toro at the helm. Because like I remember when I first watched Pan's Labyrinth, and it's like I thought it was going to be like this big fantasy story, but it's like a story about war and everything, with the fantasy just kind of like used to express that and to express the themes and ideas behind that. But the actual movie is about war and loss and whatnot. It really surprised me. Also, the movie was, I think, entirely in Spanish, I think it was, and that really caught me off guard as well. Which I mean, I have no problem watching foreign films, obviously. I just wasn't expecting it. Um, so yeah, for this, I don't know. I don't know, like if it's going to go into supernatural horror, if it's going to be more realistic horror, if it's going to just combine a bunch of things. Cabinet of Curiosities. I think the title comes from Cirque du Soleil, doesn't it? Wasn't that a Cirque du Soleil thing? Um, I never watched like a huge amount of Cirque du Soleil, but I've heard about it various places. I know it's one of the more random things that I just have heard about randomly here and there. And I think that's where I heard the title came from. Um, so I mean I guess there's that. But in terms of like a horror anthology like this, maybe like that's gonna be in some way, in some like somehow the connective point. Maybe like there's gonna be like characters who like interact with like some kind of weird cabinet thing, and like each one like each like drawer or whatnot tells a story. That's the only thing I could think of. Otherwise, I don't know like what, or maybe each piece of the anthology will feature the cabinet. That could be a case too, where instead of having like some kind of connecting thing for each part, or in this case each episode, maybe each episode does just focus entirely on its own thing with no connective storyline, but instead you have this one reoccurring element in each episode, that being the cabinet itself. That would be interesting. Especially if the cabinet is used in different ways. Like maybe in one episode it's just kind of in the background but shown often. And maybe in another episode it's actually directly related to the problem and solving it and whatnot. It's like they could do a bunch of different things with that. Um, I'm curious. I'm definitely really interested to see how this ends up going. Yeah, but other than that, like I said, I don't really know much of anything. I like I said, I don't know who exactly is in this. I just heard it was kind of star-studded, and I don't remember anything from the trailer, so I don't remember any plot points or specific types of horror or anyone who was in that. It's been out for I think a few years now. I think it came out like in the early 2020s. I think. Um, but we are finally getting to this. And I believe it's like, is it 8 or 10 episodes? It's something like that. So it's not going to be like a long series here on the channel. Um, but hopefully should still be fun. So let's get to this first episode and see what we have in store. Hold up just a second there. Before you click that link down in the description below to go to today's reaction, I just wanted to take this moment real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. Every single day of the week, we have some awesome Let's Plays for you. A bunch of different things to check out, and more coming in the future. And don't forget to click that subscribe button or like the video if you really enjoy the content I'm putting out. There will be more to come in the future. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Fuck, I am in. Like, listen, I love horror. So that I'm already sold. Guillermo del Toro's works, I'm not like necessarily the biggest fan of. There's a lot of his stuff I haven't seen. Like he did the new Pinocchio thing that I hadn't seen. But it's like, from what I have seen of his, I really do enjoy his works and do enjoy his like especially visual style. So I was very into that already. But then it's like, this was such a fascinating like start to this, and where it ended was so goddamn good. Like the monster designs is like it's fucking Guillermo del Toro. It's like they're gonna be the best like around. But like combining that with the Nazi mysticism and everything, um, it's so goddamn good. It's so good. Tim Blake Nelson was great, acting as this, entitled, greedy asshole. I liked all the other actors too. Everyone performed their roles excellently. And yeah, this is definitely a cautionary tale on how to treat people and how to, just don't be a racist, selfish asshole, basically. It's definitely a bit of a cautionary tale of that. Because it's like, you never know when people might come back to get you. You never know how they'll treat you, because it's like, oh, if he was let out, if the woman Amelia, I believe her name was, if she had let him out, he probably would have survived. Well, maybe the demon might have stalked him and hunted him down, but he might have survived. The possibility exists. But the fact that she wouldn't let him out because of how he treated her, like how horrifically and badly and inhumanly he treated her. Like, again, he was shooing her as if she was an animal. And we knew right from the start, right from like when he was in the truck listening to that radio program, that he was racist. So, and we saw that as well with how he talked to Eddie, I believe his name was, the auction house, not auction house, the storage manager, I guess would be his title. But yeah, we see like right away in the episode that he's a bad person. And so once he gets his comeuppance, it's going to be super satisfying. But God, it's like it wasn't even so much satisfying because of like him getting his comeuppance. I was just so locked into that at the end. Like I am so into that kind of shit. Like I'm not like supernatural. Like I'm not like a huge like supernatural mysticism type person outside of like media. It's mostly within like the scope of games and movies and stuff. And it's just like I think it makes for good art. It makes for good entertainment. Um, and again, the designs of it all, thanks to Guillermo del Toro, are phenomenal. Like the tentacle coming up out of the face after the demon is unleashed, and then it like splitting into multiple tentacles and everything. And it's very Lovecraftian. It is very Lovecraftian. But I also compared it to, like I said, the Evil Within games. If you've never played those, they're fantastic games. The second one, especially. They deal with a lot of psychological horror, but also have supernatural horror to them as well, with a lot of monsters and shit. Um, and some of the monsters are like really crazy and really like insane looking. And I don't think there's quite anything exactly like this, but that's the first kind of thing it just made me think of with the general idea of it. Just the demonic monster kind of design in general. Um, and it just was so good. The Nazi mysticism angle was also very interesting because again, Guillermo del Toro's played with that kind of idea before with Hellboy. Hellboy touches on that extremely strongly. Um, with one of the bad guys in the first movie being a Nazi, crazy Nazi zombie guy. I forgot his name. He had like a kind of a really like just regular name, and I can't remember what it was right now. Um, but yeah, it's like just it's so good. And again, the acting of everyone was great. Like this guy who was who was the the expert who knew about all of this and was prepared for all of this. Like he was great. Like his excitement at talking about the stuff, but also his wariness and trying to help Tim's character, even though he wasn't being listened to at all, and he ended up getting eaten for it. The old lady who was appraising the stuff initially, she was great. All the actors did a great job. I have no issue with any of them. For a like about 45 minute um, episode, an anthology episode, so it's not really going to be continued or anything. I like how it's expressed as well. It feels like it's paced properly and has everything that you need to know. I really kind of want to look back at that first scene real quick here, though. Um, okay, so the old guy's in his house. He had all those TV dinners. It looks like a normal house. Like you see like a little space fan and everything. You see like shelves that have like books and stuff on them. You can't really see what the books are, but it looks like a very normal house. Like there's like a statuette on top of the TV of like an eagle and a dog. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. Goes into the kitchen, he puts on the apron and starts chopping up the rabbit, which is not even that weird because it's like, oh, maybe he's a butcher. Maybe he does this out of his home. It's not really that weird. And then he has the heart attack and dies and everything, and he has the storage key for lot 36. But it's like there's really nothing in this opening bit that's weird. You see Bush on the TV. There's a picture of a woman on top of the TV. Is that his sister? That I think that might be his sister. Um, Also, that's not an eagle. That's like some other bird, but still. Yeah, there's nothing in this opening that tells you anything that he was like a Nazi, or that tells you that he might not have been a Nazi himself specifically, but at least was a sympathizer to the Nazi party. But there's nothing that you get from this opening scene that tells you that, or anything about the supernatural either. So it's really interesting. Also, I did look it up. The one guy who smashed his window was with the people who were out for the debt and everything. wasn't with Amelia. Completely that was the debtor, or an enforcer for the debtor, or not the debtor. He's the debtor, the loan shark or whatever. We don't exactly know what it was, but he like owed someone. This guy, this was an enforcer for that guy who came to like send a message and all, and that's why he needed this stuff by tonight, because he was attacked because of his debts, and yada yada yada. But yeah, really, really fascinating. The supernatural elements were so well done. And it's not even just the design of like the demon and everything, it's how it like is introduced. Because they find the corridor in the back of the storage locker. They find the corridor in the back and they're going through it. It's like, this is already wild as is. But then they come to the end and you see the sister's body in the pentagram with the tentacles whirling around inside the face, and it's like, oh, this is special. And then when he, breaks the seal and to get the book because of his greed, and well, partially greed, but also because to pay off his debts, because he's being attacked over it. But it's definitely greed as well. Like, greed is actively a part of his character. Um, but you see, like, just the way it starts writhing and the tentacle starts rising, just the way it's done is so goddamn good. It's so well shot, so well directed, so well designed. Everything about this was just like an absolute win. Like I'm watching most of this and I'm enjoying it. I'm like, I'm keyed in. Like, it's like, okay, I'm getting the point. They're definitely building up to shit. But it's like, that ending was so fucking good. It was so perfect. It's like, that's what I wanted. That's the shit I want to see. Okay, and I am so in on this series now. Thank you, Matthew, for donating for this. And again, I wanted to see this anyways, but I might have kept putting it off longer and longer, and might have even just forgotten about it. That has happened with shows before. Ah, like coming into this, like, knowing it's Guillermo del Toro, knowing it's horror, an anthology series, I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to like this, but I was not expecting to get that invested at the end there. And I assume each of these episodes, since it is an anthology, are going to focus on different things. They're not all going to be like, satanic Nazi demon shit. Um, but knowing that it is Guillermo del Toro, there's probably going to be a lot of crazy like designs and concepts with that. There's a lot that could be done with that too, though. There's also going to be a lot of commentary, a lot of like the themes and messages we kind of got with this one. We're going to get stuff like that in the others for sure. And I'm all for that. I love shows that can use horror, or not just shows, but movies as well, that can use horror to send messages, to express themes. I think it's a really good medium for that. Games as well. Video games can do that great too. So it's like, I just really, really love this so far. Like, this is an exciting way to start the week, because this is also my first reaction. I didn't even record today's YouTube reaction before this. This is the first thing I'm recording this week, and it's just like, my hype levels just rose exponentially. This is a really good way to start the week. I'm so in. Um, I feel like considering how much I love this, I feel like I would talk more about it, but I'm only like 12 and a half minutes into these afterthoughts. And it's like, I don't really have it. I feel like I've said pretty much everything I had to say, either during the reaction or during these afterthoughts. And it's weird. It's like I've talked about other stuff like for like 20, 30 minutes after watching. And here it's like, oh, I'm like 12 and a half minutes in and I'm pretty much done. But it's like, I feel like I want to talk more, but I've said it all. This was just so damn good. I want to hear your thoughts though. Please tell me in the comments below what you thought of this first episode. Did it just really hook you in as much as it did me? Um, I definitely want to hear your thoughts if you're watching this, Matthew. I'd love to see a comment from you. I'd love to know what you think of this because you're the one who requested it. And Venom, if you're watching this, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. Being a fellow horror fan who requests a lot of horror stuff from me, I want to know what you thought of this as well. So, and everyone else too. I called out those two specifically because the donator and then someone who's constantly donating a lot of horror stuff to the channel. But I want to hear all of your thoughts. Please leave comments. I definitely want to hear what everyone thinks of this episode. And moving forward, I am very excited to see what else Guillermo del Toro has. And I hope like I assume every episode is going to start with his little introduction and showcasing like a little item from the cabinet that relates to it, while he tells us the title and director. It's like I'm super into that too. It's very like old school Goosebumps and stuff. Um, or like Tales from the Crypt or stuff like that. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. For the time being, thank you so much for donating for this, Matthew. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.